Meghan Kelly has weighed in on Meghan Markle's failed plan to bag a billionaire as her marriage to Prince Harry becomes more unhappy by the day.
Oh, pull it up, Jamie.
She will find a way to bounce past him to some other taker who might actually just love the guy. She will take her royal kids who can still go by prince and princess and find the billionaire.
Meghan Markle is always attempting to, shall we say, build relationships with very, very, very rich men.
It's one of my favorite videos.
Harry just can't give her anything else anymore. He's served his purpose. His purpose is over and they're no longer aligned in purpose. So it's for her, it's time to move on.
In less than a single day, quiet whispers didn't just grow. They exploded into full-blown chaos that spread everywhere like wildfire. Meghan Markle was suddenly seen dining with a Dubai billionaire, and not in some hidden corner either, but out in the open where eyes could catch everything. Meanwhile, Prince Harry is reportedly sitting back, watching everything he once held. His royal status, his public image, maybe even his pride, slipping away piece by piece. And somehow people are still expected to believe this was just a casual dinner. That doesn't even sound believable. Let's not act confused here. This wasn't just a random meal or some innocent meetup. This had intention written all over it. This wasn't lunch. It was strategy. Meghan isn't simply stepping outside. She's stepping beyond everything tied to Harry. She's moving forward while his royal identity slowly fades into something that feels more like old history than present reality. And the wildest part? She's not even trying to hide it. No disguises, no low-key moves, no quiet exits, just bold decisions happening in broad daylight. If you've been following this situation, you already know this isn't surprising. As Harry fades deeper into the background,
that Meghan Markle really did expect Harry to be a billionaire when she met him. She was incredibly disappointed to find out he's only worth a couple million, and she's gonna have to actually work and hawk these jams and jellies and dog biscuits to have the lifestyle that she wants.
That he was the one, the most eligible bachelor on earth. You could be a royal, you could become world famous overnight, you could live in a castle, you could have access to the crown jewels, you would be a princess. My God, yes, he could have had his pick.
I mean, she flirts openly with other men. I remember when she was at that tennis match, looked like she was flirting with Serena Williams' husband, like with her skirt and just how she just looks at men. Harry doesn't matter.
But this woman is nothing but a publicity whore. It's a term of art. We broke the news that she had Prince Harry on her vision board when she was younger. That was her goal. #goal, to marry Prince Harry. So it was all about getting the title. She's done that now. Now she's just stuck with this depressed ginger who has absolutely no family, no friends, and no money. This was not part of the plan.
Meghan looks like she's opening the door to a completely new chapter. And in that chapter, there's clearly no space for someone weighed down by past issues, old narratives, and deals that didn't go the way they were planned. Let's be real for a moment. Meghan Markle doesn't move without purpose. Every appearance, every smile, every accidental photo that somehow lands in headlines, it's all part of something bigger. Nothing about it feels random. So when she's spotted dining with someone who lives that ultra-luxury lifestyle she may have expected from royal life, that's not coincidence. That's calculated visibility. That's not just dinner. That's a message. That's positioning. That's control over the narrative. Meanwhile, Harry is reportedly back in Montecito, living a much quieter reality, possibly trying to make sense of how everything flipped so fast. The contrast between them is loud. The irony here hits hard. Meghan once said she didn't know much about royal life, but now it's being suggested,
Royal family, you should be so thankful this woman wanted to leave because she's not going to bring any good to the branding of royal. She's going to downgrade it to a level of ghetto. And that's what it is. This is just bad.
Because these billionaires can sense one thing. When you're not looking for a partner, you're looking for a solution. And that's obviously the lane that Meghan Markle's in now. She doesn't make really her own money. This whole Netflix thing is just a ruse. We all know this is made up just to give her something to do. Her miraculous miraculous renewal for her second season, which was already shot in full by the time the first season was done, meaning they just made some extra episodes and decided to roll out a fake second season as a PR plan, hasn't fooled anybody.
Netflix will, allow their relationship with Prince Harry to expire, but they are holding on tightly to Meghan to work with Meghan in hopes that if there is a divorce, they would get the exclusive and pounce on that access to Meghan because they know that that's the next big thing that would sell.
She's surprised that marrying into royalty doesn't equal billionaire level wealth. That's a serious reality check, because being royal doesn't automatically mean private jets, unlimited money, or a lifestyle that mirrors tech billionaires. But from the outside, it looks like expectations didn't match reality. Not just love, not just status, but a full upgrade. And when that didn't happen, when palace life turned into pressure, rules, and constant attention, instead of fantasy, she didn't slow down. She adjusted quickly and moved toward a different plan. Now look at what's happening. Harry is being quietly removed from certain royal spaces, almost like he's being edited out. And Meghan, she's moving freely, building her own direction, stepping into solo territory without hesitation. She's in full independent mode now. No visible emotional attachment in public, no strong signs of unity.
Have you ever seen that video?
No.
Pull that video up because it's one of my favorite.
Trick that people do with pineapple, instead of just cutting it to make the perfect little bite, you follow the wedge. When nature has given you all the cues on how to have a perfect taste of something.
Oh, how fun is that? I love it.
I like working hard.
This woman is being paid millions of dollars to show how to cut into a pineapple.
Oh my God. Who the hell is sated by one tiny little bite of pineapple?
Are you taking cooking advice from Meghan Markle in the kitchen?
No, I wouldn't take any of the advice on her show.
It's the biggest piece of dog
Just smooth rebranding and appearances that keep her in the spotlight. Those billionaire dinner moments, they don't just happen randomly. They land exactly where they need to, right where people are watching. It feels like groundwork is being set, like something bigger is being prepared behind the scenes. And while it may look like a win right now, there's always another side waiting to surface, because every move has a response, and sometimes that response comes when it's least expected. Right now, it looks like Meghan is pushing to stay relevant while things around her start to shift. The Netflix deal, not as strong as before. The royal connection, fading. And the marriage, that's where things get even more intense. This trial separation might not be labeled as a full split, but it definitely doesn't look stable. It doesn't feel like something being fixed. It feels like something already broken being managed carefully in public. If you've been paying attention, you've seen how quickly whispers turned into headlines. Major outlets are all echoing the same tone, just using softer words to frame it. Taking space, living separate lives, working on things. Those phrases sound calm, but they carry heavy meaning. Because let's be honest, people don't enter a trial separation.
If he's there, that she's still married. I mean, this woman's going to keep trying to get elevated with the next man because that's what she wants. Because, Harry at this point doesn't even have enough money for her. And so she needs to find the man that's going to really give her what she wants financially. Meghan is living a life that she's winning and she's doing all these great things. But the reality is not that. The reality is she's a joke. It's embarrassing at this point. It's like, oh my gosh, for real, Meghan, you did that? You're going to keep doing this? I mean, wow.
To be honest, we know Harry is not the smartest tool in the shed. He's just like, yeah, of course I'm meeting up with X because we need to talk business. We need money. We've got this lifestyle. We need these private jets, etc., etc., etc.
Unless something is already falling apart. And here, it doesn't look like just one issue. It looks like everything tied to their brand is under pressure. Spotify already stepped away. Netflix seems unsure. And the image they built together, it's starting to crack. Now Meghan is shifting direction again. This time stepping into lifestyle branding, trying something new. But early reactions? Not exactly strong. Some are already saying it's not landing the way it was expected. Meanwhile, Harry is holding on to the Invictus Games like it's one of the last things that still feels real and grounded. And that contrast hits hard, because while one side is exploring new spaces, The other is holding on to what still makes sense. What really stands out isn't just the separation, it's how obvious it feels without anything official being said. No statements, no announcements, but everyone can feel something is off. And you already know the palace is watching quietly. No reactions, just observing everything unfold. According to insiders, Meghan is the one asking for space and looking at everything happening. That lines up with what people are seeing. She's still showing up, still polished, still in control of her image. Meanwhile, Harry has stepped back so far, he almost feels invisible. And that raises a serious question. How does someone go from being a prince with global attention to looking like they're trying to figure everything out in real time? No clear role, no strong direction, just questions. That idea of this being a professional break doesn't really hold up, because if it was about work, there would still be support, still be unity, still be visible connection. But that's missing. No joint appearances, no strong public backing, no shared messaging, because what's happening doesn't look like a partnership anymore. It looks like something slowly breaking apart. Meghan seems to have already moved forward emotionally, focused, strategic, and aligned with a different direction. Meanwhile, Harry looks like he's still catching up to what's already changed. And now comes the part that really shifts perspective. According to insiders, Meghan didn't just fall for Harry's personality. There are claims she believed she was stepping into billionaire-level wealth. That expectation changes everything, because if that vision didn't match reality, then the decisions that followed start making a lot more sense. That idea that she thought she was stepping into unlimited luxury, champagne-on-tap living, adds another layer to everything we're seeing now. Imagine walking into what you think is a dream. Massive gates, your initials carved like royalty owns the air itself, and a tiara lineup so stacked it could rival the crown jewels. That's the fantasy, right? But then reality hits different. Instead of unlimited luxury and endless power, she ends up with a man worth around £20 million and a home tucked inside palace grounds known as Nottingham Cottage. Not exactly the palace takeover moment that was expected. It suddenly feels less like a fairy tale and more like Real Housewives of royal disappointment. And yeah, that contrast is loud. Let's break it down properly, because the gap between expectation and reality is huge. According to royal biographer Tom Quinn, palace insiders claimed Meghan Markle was genuinely shocked when she realized Prince Harry wasn't some walking vault of gold bars and global power. We're talking real shock, not just mild surprise. The expectation, Buckingham Palace-level living, full luxury, historic elegance, everything grand and over the top. But the reality? A modest cottage, simple furniture, no live-in staff, and a setup that didn't match the dream she had in mind. It's like expecting Versailles and landing somewhere that feels more like a polished Airbnb. Clean, secure, sure, but not screaming royal luxury at all. And once that realization settled in, that's when everything started shifting. Because according to insiders, that moment didn't just pass quietly, it triggered frustration, disappointment, and a deeper realization that things weren't what they seemed. Suddenly, it wasn't just about money, it became about status. That feeling of not being at the center, not being the main focus, started creeping in. And that's where the narrative began to shift, because Harry wasn't the future king, he was just part of the system, not the main figure, not the spotlight, just the spare. And that realization hit hard. There are even claims that Harry himself didn't fully feel that weight until Meghan pointed it out. Imagine walking through royal grounds, everything looking normal, and then hearing, "Why are we not the main ones here?" That kind of thought changes everything. From that point on, the perspective shifts, and suddenly everything feels different. That's when the so-called victim narrative started forming, slowly building over time. Let's be real. Meghan knows how attention works. She knows how to control a room, own a red carpet, and turn moments into headlines. That's not accidental. That's skill. So it's not hard to believe she walked into royal life expecting more than just tradition and rules. She likely expected influence, power, and a lifestyle that matched the title prince in the way people imagine it. But instead, she got something very different. A duke carrying emotional weight, dealing with past struggles, living under constant public pressure, and working with wealth that, while significant, wasn't billionaire level. That gap between expectation and reality, that's where everything started cracking. And once that illusion broke, the shift became obvious. Because when the fairy tale doesn't match the vision, you don't just sit there. You rewrite the story. And Meghan didn't settle. She started shaping a new narrative, one that fits her goals better. Because let's be honest, she's not built for small expectations. Not in lifestyle, not in ambition, not in branding. Now look at what's forming around her. Billionaire circles, strategic appearances, calculated moves. It's all aligning. The personal brand is evolving, becoming more independent, more controlled, more focused. And the exit plan, it doesn't look rushed. It looks halfway complete already. Meanwhile, Harry is still trying to process everything, still figuring out where he fits in this shifting story. And the contrast is clear but off because while one side is moving forward with direction, the other looks like it's trying to catch up. Now let's get into that moment everyone keeps replaying. The blinking. Yes, the blinking. Because if you missed that viral clip where Meghan was asked if she sees herself staying married forever, then you missed one of the most telling moments in this entire situation. The question was simple. Do you think you'll be married forever? And her answer, technically yes. But her face, that told a completely different story. It was hesitation, discomfort, uncertainty, all showing at once. 5 quick blinks, a small shrug, and a smile that looked like it was struggling to stay in place. That wasn't confidence. That wasn't certainty. That looked like someone buying time, trying to hold it together in the moment. People didn't need experts to explain it. Anyone watching could feel the disconnect because when words and body language don't match, something deeper is going on. And in that moment, it didn't feel like love. It felt like pressure. It felt like someone trying to stay aligned with a narrative that's already starting to shift. That's why that clip hit so hard. It wasn't loud, but it spoke volumes. And the timing, that's what makes it even more interesting. That clip resurfaced right when rumors about that billionaire dinner started spreading. That overlap adds another layer, another question, another reason people are paying attention. And it doesn't stop there. Her recent interviews have also shifted. The warmth is fading. The personal stories about Harry, almost gone. Now it's all about growth, healing, reinvention. Because when someone starts focusing more on themselves than the relationship, it usually means something has already changed. And here, it feels like a transition is already happening. Meanwhile, Harry is still out there making appearances, still holding on to identity, still showing up with purpose, but it feels quieter now, less supported, less unified. He's holding on to what still feels real, while everything around him is changing. And that contrast is impossible to ignore, because this doesn't look like a shared journey anymore. It looks like 2 separate paths moving in different directions. Meghan's silence isn't confusion. It's strategy. It's controlled, intentional, and placed exactly where it needs to be. Because silence, when used right, can speak louder than anything. And right now, that silence feels like preparation, like something bigger is being built behind the scenes. Her brand has already started shifting. Names changing, focus narrowing, identity becoming more individual, less shared, more personal. This isn't just a small adjustment, it's a transformation, because before all of this, before the titles, before the palace, she already understood media, attention, and image. The royal connection didn't create that. It amplified it, and now that she's stepping away from it, she's not disappearing, she's refining it, reshaping it, and making sure it stands strong on its own. No traces left behind, no loose ends, just a clean shift into whatever comes next. From behind the scenes where everything looks quiet but the real moves are happening loud and calculated, it becomes clear she knows exactly when to hold back and exactly when to let something slip out into the spotlight. That timing isn't luck, it's precision. And those leaks everyone keeps hearing about, they're not subtle at all. They land loud and exactly when they need to. Now suddenly, sources close to Meghan Markle are pushing a new narrative, one that paints Prince Harry as emotionally draining, stuck in royal drama, and, here it is, not the man she thought he'd be. Wait, seriously? This is the same man who openly told the world who he was, the same one who built his identity around being the spare, the same guy who shared everything publicly. And now that's surprising? That doesn't sound like confusion. That sounds like strategy. Because let's be real, this feels like the emotional exit happening before anything official even gets said. The slow shift, the quiet transition from power couple to she tried. That kind of narrative doesn't just appear, it's built step by step. And, Meghan? She's not drafting some emotional joint statement. She's setting up a whole different image. Picture solo covers, soft lighting, standing barefoot in a California orchard with a dog and a jar of jam, talking about healing and growth. That's not heartbreak, that's branding. And here's the twist. The public might actually go with it, because the moment she leans into that calm, independent image, the sympathy could roll in fast. The kind that shifts perception and rewrites the story. Meanwhile, Harry is still holding on to the relationship, defending it like it hasn't already been quietly pushed aside. And that silence from Meghan, it doesn't feel emotional, it feels intentional. It feels like setup. She's not just turning the page. She's already in the next chapter while Harry is still flipping back. And the wild part? He doesn't even realize the story has already changed. But now things get deeper. Because while everything looks smooth, the timing, the leaks, the silence, it feels too perfect, too controlled, and people are noticing. Hollywood isn't reacting the same anymore. The excitement is fading. There's even talk that she's entered too risky to engage territory. And that shift, that's big, because this is the same space that once welcomed her instantly. Now, people are stepping back, watching from a distance, and those curated lifestyle posts, those soft focus clips, they're starting to feel less natural and more planned. Because here's the truth. People at that level don't move toward anything that feels forced. They analyze patterns. And lately, everything feels more calculated than effortless. Even whispers from her side aren't painting her as misunderstood anymore. They're framing her as strategic, but not in a strong way. More like constantly calculating the next move. And that difference matters, because there's a thin line between being smart and being seen as scripted. One insider reportedly said she's trying to seem exceedingly normal, but it's not landing. That says a lot, because when image and reality don't match, things shift fast. The charm fades, the attention slows, and those doors that once opened, they start closing, quietly but firmly. Even those rumored billionaire connections, not engaging the way people expected. And honestly, that tracks, because at that level, people don't just look at status, they look at patterns. And right now, the headlines are loud and messy. That doesn't build confidence, it builds hesitation. But one moment really stood out, that panel moment with Brooke Shields. Meghan brought up her well-known story again, but this time the reaction was different. The room didn't respond the same. And then Brooke delivered that calm but sharp line, "Well, when I was 11, I played a pro." That moment, it didn't need drama. It landed clean. It wasn't an attack. It was a shift, a signal that the story wasn't landing the same anymore. And coming from someone respected, that moment carried weight because it showed something real that the narrative people once connected with might not be connecting now. And in Hollywood, once that shift happens, it's hard to come back from. This isn't about ambition, it's about perception. And right now, that perception is changing. The narrative is unraveling, slowly, piece by piece. And while that's happening, attention is already moving elsewhere. Now we're looking at what was once framed as a fairy tale, showing cracks everywhere. No official ending, but the energy says everything. Because even without confirmation, one thing feels clear. The connection isn't the same. Meghan has moved forward, mentally and strategically. And Harry? He's still trying to figure out when everything changed. This isn't just a breakup, it's what happens when image moves faster than reality. When the performance starts to feel stronger than the relationship. Think about the journey. From royal entry to global spotlight to this shift. That's not small. That's a full transformation. And through it all, everything became a platform. Not just a title, but a stepping stone. Meanwhile, Harry's position feels uncertain. No clear direction, just questions. He gave up a lot for this life. And now the question is, what happens when that life fades? Because this doesn't look like a rough patch. It looks like a shift already happening. The signs are everywhere. The silence, the headlines, the body language, they all point the same way. This wasn't just a love story that changed. It was a partnership that evolved. And now, possibly, is ending. And just like that, the story moves forward. One stepping ahead, the other still looking back. Harry's still searching for that moment when everything felt real. But that chapter, it's already closed. So now the question is right there. Was this the biggest royal hustle of the decade? Or did Harry fall into something that was never really about him? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading everything. And if you want more deep dives into celebrity twists, royal drama, and headline breakdowns, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a drop from Star Spotlight.